Hello everyone, I've just started another playthrough of Axis NNI Stalingrad, the full scenario, so the race to Stalingrad, and I've gone through the first two cards. The first one obviously is skip because it's simply weather. The second one, the Germans collect RPCs, so they have 3 RPCs now for the areas that they control, and this is after the Axis movement, and I'm not saying it's the perfect opening, but I do think it's a pretty solid one, so I'll just go over a couple of things with you, and hopefully you find it useful for your own games. These Axis infantry, minor Axis infantry, I actually left in place. I could have moved one backwards or something, but I just left them. It's not the most important thing. Yeah, you can see that Manoilin is empty, so lots of those mobile units I moved towards Stalingrad over here. Here I think I've left enough units in place for these infantry units not to attack them on their own, because of course the Germans would get the unfrozen river bonus. So infantry hitting on a 3, the assault gun hitting on a 4, and the artillery hitting on a 3 as well. So I think even though it's not very it's not very strongly held, it should be more than enough. I've moved into here, and another option would have been to attack these two areas and to get rid of the infantry. Why is that important? Well, I think it might be important because if the Russians want to build up quickly there and buy a couple of tanks, then they already have the infantry in place, and they can actually start making harassing attacks, which will already take out many Axis units before before Operation Uranus actually starts in earnest. So it's definitely an option to take out those infantry, so that the Russians will have to probably rebuy them before they can start buying hard-hitting tanks. In this particular case, I did opt to assault this area, what's it called, Kremenskaya, right away, because it's 1/4 of the German RPCs, which they will probably hold for the next couple of turns. So yeah, you can see that I have 2 artillery there, or is it even 3? No, 2 artillery, 3 infantry, and tank or an assault gun, hard to tell. I have 3 infantry in place here, which again with the river bonus should be enough. I've attacked this area. I'm not expecting to conquer it. I do hope I've moved in enough units to keep the Russians in place also on turn 2, because I don't want these forces to interfere with the attack below into Vertiaci, which is a very important one, because as soon as you take that area, you can move into Orlovka, so you're in the city while the Russians are still relatively weak. And the Russians can move off the city board on the first 2 turns, while no step back is in effect anyway. So you want to take these out, and if the Russians want to move in, depending of course on the losses, I'm assuming it will be gone after the German turn. They have enough units there. So if the Russians do decide to move in this artillery and these 2 infantry from Pitomnik, probably on the Russian turn, the Germans stand a very good chance of eliminating them too, and in doing so they would give up Pitomnik as well, basically. So that's why I put these units in here, again not to conquer it, but so they won't interfere in Vertiaci, thereby holding up the Germans, and they really need to get to the city quickly. It's called Race to Stalingrad, so they don't want to be slowed down too much. This is an important assault as well. I've moved lots of units in. As you can see, in many places I have at least 1 tank and 1 mechanized infantry in those important places, because I'm hoping to move them into the city and to do some blitzing right away, which will quickly but surely take away Russian RPs and give them to the Germans, and hopefully take some important areas such as the Red October Steelworks or the chemical factory, or Pavlov's house, while they're still undefended, or at best lightly defended. Here I've moved in a couple of Axis infantry and an Axis artillery. I did add in a bomber because I don't want to suffer too many casualties either, should the Russians roll very well. But yeah, these are basically expendable. I've moved two of them over here. One came from Dormos and the other one probably from here, so they're going to move up north. These three are intact. I'm not sure if they started here or here, but I've left them there. I haven't moved them in because I want to see where I'm going to move them, which is probably into Abganorovo station later on, depending on how it goes there. I supply dropped a supply token there because the German units are unsupplied, but this way they'll be able to fight supplied. Over here in Abganorovo station, I did fly in the two fighters, which is a little bit of a risk because there is an Allied artillery there, which could of course shoot one down. But yeah, I don't want to lose too many precious German units here in the attack, so I think a little bit of air support is needed there. If you really want to play it safe, that's the move you don't want to make, and you really only want to use your air force where they can be shot at least in the beginning of the game. But as I explained, I don't want to lose too many of these infantry units, which I'm hoping to double once they get into the city proper, and that's not going to happen, of course, if the Russians roll too many hits. So that's why I put the fighters there. Yeah, so that's basically the first Axis movement. So I hope that, I hope I've explained to you why I made these moves and why I believe that that's going to get the Germans into Stalingrad quickly. As you can see, this is an important attack into Buzanovka, which will get you into Potomnik, and these will get you either into Potomnik or into Rheinop right away. So yeah, depending on the die rolls, of course, you don't have much influence on the dice gods, but I think this is a pretty solid opening, and I hope it helps you too. So thank you for watching, and see you on the next one.